Hi, my name is Carl Johann Schroeder, and I want to tell you about my Ascension Plan for 2026. What I do to help the world and what you in the world can do to help me and all of us. So, Ascension, we've talked about in many, many videos, but you may not know me. A lot of people do know me, thousands, not tens of thousands or hundreds or millions. I'm not a huge name, but I will be. I am on the astral plane. That's what I'm here to talk about right now. The ascension process, what it means to really shift your center of awareness from the physical world to the so-called afterlife, which is really, it's also known as the astral plane. I like to use very colloquial everyday terms. So we've got the physical world, the emotional world. Your emotions are not actually of this world, the physical world. Your emotions are energy, and they come from this astral plane. And the astral plane is a very beautiful, amazing place. That is the real energy world. That is where things actually manifest from. That's where all things start and all things return to. That, in terms of our beings as spatial fourth dimensional beings. There's a lot of talk about dimensions. I can explain a lot of these things. I want to explain to you what I'm here to help with, that I am somebody who has been awakened since childhood in some ways, but also I've stayed close to being human. And human is a really stressful, challenging place on Earth, okay? We know that, right? We know that. And that's why the world is going through the reality splits that we're seeing today. When we talk about reality splitting, when people talk about that, what they're saying is that the Earth, a single Earth, can no longer tolerate radically different belief systems. It turns out your beliefs, your choices for how you think things work, your paradigms, your explanations, your interpretations, your rule systems, all of that kind of stuff. That is what actually generates reality. Reality is an experience. It's not actually physically there. This is what they talk about in quantum physics. This is what they talk about, well, even before quantum physics with Einstein in 1905, special relativity, that time and space are somehow one resource, time-space, and it's all simultaneously present. We're only experiencing a narrative, a chronology to sort out our lives. So Earth is a challenging place. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be a problem. But a challenge is a good word in terms of something is challenging you. Something is testing you. Something is pushing you to really understand and stand up for yourself. And that's what's happening. It's the belief systems. So I want to talk a little bit about how belief systems create reality. Just some basics of ascension, because I have, in a fundamental way, quote unquote, ascended. I understand what now. I mean, I don't want to get into the ego of these terms. Okay, I'm enlightened, I'm ascended. Come on, it's a continual process, okay? Many of us, many people have had amazing spiritual, mystical experiences off and on through their entire lives. What's needed is to be able to connect them consciously. I call it stringing pearls. All of us have amazing life experiences, really beautiful peak moments. You think like, oh my God, this is it. It feels so good. This is amazing. This is what life is for. And then it changes. And you go back into being some kind of insecure human being who then reacts a lot and projects and pulls on other people who pull on you. And the next thing you know, you're deep in negativity. Negativity, what is that? I mean, we're talking about meanness, right? But more than meanness, it's powerlessness. Because, yeah, people deep in negativity, far along in negativity, yeah, they're really cruel. There are some really negative people running the world today. It doesn't mean they're negative, rotten, bad deep down inside, but they are humans that have bought into rule systems that put impossible demands on you, so you become a defensive, survival-oriented human being. So that's what negativity is about, is becoming powerless, not being connected anymore to your true divine power as a creator. Enlightenment is just these moments that you can increasingly connect. You put your puzzle of life together to realize that actually you are both the creation and the creator. I know that there's this wonderful quote by Teilhard de Chardin that says, you're not a human being having a spiritual experience, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. but any either or. It's really both, okay? Look, the fact is that ascension is about becoming the creator inside of the creation. The creation is already inside of the creator. Consciousness creates everything. You know, all these scientists who want to say like, well, somehow maybe consciousness is a byproduct of the physical universe. No, the physical universe is a byproduct of consciousness. And that's why if your seat of consciousness, if your identity is strongly related to, is coming from the physical world, that's called materialism, you will suffer. And you'd be amazed if you really look at it. Obviously, you know, materialistic people, you know, you can easily say, yeah, I'm not like that materialistic people. I'm not like that far down the path of negativity. But when a human being is still very insecure, there's something going on there. I mean, I know a lot of people. I'm a networker. I've met a lot of people in the course of decades of being guided by my spirit guides to pull together the understandings, study other paths, teachers, but mostly get a lot of guidance from myself. So I put together my picture, my understanding from my unique perspective. That's the whole point of life, to have your unique perspective. Every one of you, every one of us has wonderful, amazing gifts to bring to the world, to share. And those are not just like one time you develop your gift and now you productize it and you spend the rest of your life kind of like bending over backward for clients and customers. Like, no, that's a materialistic point of view. No, when you are plugged in, when you are connected to the source of all creation, you become the creator who is ever more of a creator who loves your creation, your human self. So the goal is to be aware of yourself in two worlds. One, inside of the belief systems which generate the reality experience. And two, as a spirit, as a spiritual being above belief systems, able to assess where you are in a reality, identify the beliefs, the choices that got you there, and change them if you need to go to another reality, or increase them, reinforce them if you're having a good time. Because look, life is meant to be like this permanent vacation, this wonderful eternal exploration of just how great life can be. And then you share, you reflect back to the universe. This is how I see things. This is the wonderful time I'm having. And everything is conscious. Doesn't all speak human language. It doesn't all look human, but it's all conscious. And the universe, all the conscious beings, they love to share with you their gifts and you share with them. Life is meant to be wonderful. But it hasn't been wonderful, has it? On Earth, Earth is one of the really challenging planets where the generosity, the fertility of the Earth being, the Gaia, which hosts many different ecosystems, well, that variety of ecosystems is symbolic, is indicative of how many different belief systems can live on the Earth. So yes, we can have very different ways of experiencing life, even within human beings. Because human beings will continue to specialize, to individuate. We're not necessarily going to evolve into strange new creatures. Yeah, nature has gone through millions of years of evolution. Wonderful, amazing beings that have developed. And these beings, they're fantastic. They have thoughts, they have feelings, they love, they play. I'm in no way trivializing the amazing, incredible depth and wonder of nature, both the physical beings, the animals and plants and the crystals, and the non-physical beings. There's a whole world of nature spirits here. But there is something special about when a being, a conscious being, wants to become their own individualized creator. We're not the only ones. Actually, dolphins and whales, also on planet Earth, have attained that level of sentience, of free will. And it's interesting, dolphins and whales, not that many thousands of years ago, they chose to go back in the water. They were actually land animals, and they made a conscious decision. I think we'll evolve in the water. We're going to hold an energy for humanity is coming. So, yeah, modern humanity, we actually depend on the dolphins and the whales more than we know in terms of the consciousness. But yeah, I'm talking some esoteric stuff here, right? And not everybody's interested in it. And that's what I need to really talk about here because, see, we're in this ascension time where the Earth can no longer host radically different, radically incompatible belief systems. Along the lines of, first of all, the positive belief systems that say the universe is your friend, all consciousness can coexist, everything can help you. The positive beliefs are the ones that lead you to build bridges, to grow, to get to know more friends, to have an endless journey of life, happy ever after, discovering how wonderful your skills and talents are when applied to different groups where you belong to thrive. That's the positive belief system. And the negative belief systems, the negative side, well, that's the side of something that's not right for you, which in the extreme is, a planet of people who just want to have war. And there are people now who just want to end the world, end the Earth in a world war. And it's crazy making, isn't it? But for some reason, these people are really into it. Well, the reason that I've come to understand and appreciate, and you won't really fully be able to let go and appreciate how different some people can be until you really, quote unquote, ascend enough that your seat of your identity is in the astral plane, is in the energy world. This energy world that normally people only experience in the afterlife. There's the negative beliefs, they segregate things. In the very start of negativity, it's as simple as the electronic, electrons, the electrostatic fields that give an appearance of solid objects. I can't push my hands together, right? That's just because they're the electrostatic fields. The fact is, it's mostly empty space. You've heard that. Even in classical physics, it's mostly empty space. It's the fields that give it a sense of full objects. But then quantum physics says there aren't even any objects. It just depends how you interact with these eternal, infinite energy fields. That gives rise to the experience of objects. So modern physics has identified some fundamental principles of light, but they haven't identified things such as, the fields. They aren't just 20 or so fundamental fields they talk about, the different particles and light, electromagnetic field and so on. But no, the fields are combinatorial, and you as a consciousness are your own field. Every being is their own field. So there is an internal infinite energy source of you, and that you can tune into. It has such confidence, such clarity, such love for you. It will always guide you. This is your higher self, your soul, all the parts of your soul, your other lifetimes, your parts of yourself within this lifetime, your inner child, your inner adolescent, different guides. It's just, the spiritual world is just amazing, infinite. The physical world is very small and limited compared to the spiritual home that you're really from. However, that's only why, if you base your identity in the physical world, you're going to be forever insecure, forever prone to negative beliefs that not only say there are objects because they can't push them together from the electrostatic forces, but it actually goes further in the negativity that, things are against you and we have to end the world in war and, the last one standing wins and stuff like that, which you don't believe in because you're listening to this video. Okay. I mean, people who want to go down that negative path, they wouldn't even get close to listening to this video that you're listening to now. However, you can suffer a lot. And many people are suffering a lot because they don't fully understand what's going on. And that's what I can now teach with a greater confidence and clarity, full confidence and clarity, now that I have shifted to the astral home. You have a home in the astral plane. The astral plane, these energy levels, they are sort of stratified. So just like in the physical world, you have solid, liquid, gas, plasma, and then actually a few more levels called the etheric, which science hasn't fully identified, but the nature spirits are there. And then you move into the next major quantum leap, this leap into the astral plane, the emotional plane. This is where you go when you dream at night. And this is where you go when you die, the afterlife. And it's massive, it's huge. You can picture it as being an entire sphere around the sphere of the physical world. And then there's the larger sphere around that of the mental plane and the belief systems, and a larger sphere around that. It's like creation is just unbelievably infinite. And I guess literally, unbelievably. It's hard to believe, but you will believe it as you understand it in time. So you nibble your way through the experience of being an infinite, eternal being. So the physical world is extremely limited. And people who have near-death experiences, right, they talk about like, oh my God, I went to the other side through the tunnel of light. I met my guides and there was so much love. It was so amazing. I've been there. You don't have to have near-death experiences. You can have amazing mystical experiences, lucid dreams, just visions, you can be in nature and just be overwhelmed with how much love there is. You can tune into that world anytime. It's welcome to you. You don't have to die to go to heaven. Again, as I was saying, it's the negative belief systems that segregate the experiences, that segregate men and women, that segregate, the afterlife and the physical life, that segregate. But no, it's actually all connected. It's all available to you. The point is to be able to make use of the physical world for what it's good for. What it's good for is the physical world is the place where it's kind of like looking through a microscope. You can have a very detailed experience of something and you can study it. The physical world is where you come to not just pre-birth planning, esoteric systems talking about, life between lives planning and all that. Oh, that's all true. But every day, every cycle, you can be going to your energy world, your energy self, your spiritual self, working with your guides, making some decisions, and then going back into a focus in the human world. As I said, you're both. Teller de Chardin saying you're a human being having a spiritual experience or a spiritual being having a human experience. You're both. You're going back and forth. So this is what you want to learn to master, is being able to going around the different perspectives of an entire universe. Because it turns out you are your own universe. Every consciousness is its own universe. Why? How? Well, just think of it in terms of you can argue about the details of a reality, a belief system. And you can make statements within a belief system that are contradictory. And you can have entire belief systems that are contradictory, like war will lead to peace, work hard and you'll be happy. It's like, no, it's just those are all the negative belief systems. The negative beliefs are all based on something contradictory that will make you suffer. And if you're sensitive to a belief system, you can't tolerate it. But the people who are not sensitive to that contradiction, who have, for some reason, they bought into, they are planning to have a lifetime and experience in a negative reality, they're geared for it. This is what I've come to understand and appreciate. I needed to understand. And you can't fully, as I said, you cannot fully stop projecting and let go and let people be who they are until you are fully owning your true home, your true identity in the astral plane, in the so-called afterlife, which is really the energy world that this all comes from, that is your domain. This is all spirit. The physical world, it's not solid, okay? You need to understand, as I was saying, every consciousness is its own universe. Because you can't argue with the fact that everyone has their own personal experience, their own personal point of view. You can say, well, that person thinks these things that are just not true, but they are experiencing them as they think they're true. They think that if they have another war, they'll finally have peace. They don't seem to understand, no, you just get PTSD, and the next time there's a conflict, you just brace yourself for another war. No, only peace leads to peace. You have to be at a higher spiritual level to make fundamental choices between belief systems, paradigms. So no, you're not stuck with the beliefs that you grew up with. When you incarnate from the spirit world, you jump into a belief system. And what happens is, when you jump into a belief system, you automatically get all the parts of yourself that are adapted to that belief system. So if you look around, it's like, I'm in a nasty place and all these people are nasty too. Well, you've got a nasty side too. You've got to learn to manage the part of you that is connected with that belief system if you want to move out of that belief system. And this is where I see so much suffering, that spiritual people, they're still fundamentally projecting because they haven't fundamentally anchored in their astral home, their astral heaven, their true real self in the spiritual world. You need to anchor there, and then you can be very clear, oh, I'm going into the physical world for a specific purpose, and my guides are always with me. Hey, you're not physically visible, but I can feel you, I can sense you, I can get information from you, I can talk with you. This is just a focus. This is, like I said, physical world is a way of studying something in detail. It's like looking through a microscope at a leaf or a rock. It's like you don't use the microscope to look at the sunset or the sunrise. Put your microscope down, then you can see the big, beautiful picture. That's the spiritual world. But when you want to study something in detail, when you have a purpose in mind, then, look through your microscope and study something in great detail. This is the thing. It's like you need to get back to your astral heaven, your astral home, your spiritual home, where emotions come from. That's why people have so many messed up emotions and then so many messed up ideas of how to even deal with those emotions. All of your emotions are your friend. Handled positively, all of your emotions have a great meaning, a great purpose, and will get you back to your astral heaven, your spiritual home. Fear, for example. Yeah, it's true that fear is a symptom of negative beliefs, negative cultures, people who want to dominate you. But you know what? Your fear, your personal experience of fear, your personal universe, your universe of personal experience, that is there to serve you. It totally loves you. It will totally help you. So how does your fear help you? It tells you that something's not true. Oh my God, I'm so afraid of this awful thing will happen. I've got to brace myself. I got to do all these things. No, that's self-fulfilling prophecy. First, you got to realize I'm scared of this thing. My human self is scared. Now, let me step back into the energy world, be a bit more of my spiritual self and say, human self, don't be scared thinking that it's going to happen. Just be scared enough to talk with me about what you're scared about. Let's explore this because something's not true. There's a false belief. There's something that's not right for us. Maybe it's right for other people, but we've identified a belief that we can change. How do you change a belief? You see all the ways that you buy into it, that you have an adapted personality, all your human aspects. And you choose away from that. You realize that doesn't serve me. And you get back to your original intention for incarnating, and you make a positive use of the situation you're in. Oh, I came into this group of really obnoxious people, not because I had to fight them and convince them to be nice so that we don't end the world in a war. No, I'm going to have a war to end war. No. I came into this situation for some kind of lesson. You wanted to learn something about life. But you're not going to be really clear about what you came into a situation to learn, and you're not going to be really clear about your spiritual guidance, and you're not going to be really clear about the best decisions to make so that you can finish your lesson, have a good outcome of getting to know yourself better, and then get back, hightail out of there. Let go of the people that, I have nothing to do with these people anymore. I came in here to experience something, to make a decision, to clarify what beliefs are good for me, and then I can go back to my astral home. You're not going to be able to do that until you really move into your astral home. Now, I have been aware of my astral home for decades. I started right away from these mystical experiences. Sometimes I tell people, and I've made videos about them, and it's all very impressive. But I want to emphasize, look, I'm not interested in being impressive. I'm interested in saying, my gosh, I've had these amazing experiences. You've had your own amazing experiences. What do they mean? How do we fit them together? Well, the way we fit them together is to get back to your spiritual home and let go of the people who seem to be fundamentally adapted to situations that aren't good for you. There are people who they're just not sensitive to what you're sensitive to. Stop trying to make them sensitive. Stop trying to get them to care about being cruel. No, just work on being your own true self, and then you'll be able to follow your spiritual guidance to be able to go in and out of situations where, there are people you won't care about. There are people you want to help. There are a lot of people crying out for help in the world, and some of them you really are outfitted to help. But again, you're not going to be able to feel secure and confident and safe in your own connection to the energy world, to the spiritual world. You're not going to feel safe enough to be able to go in and out of a situation, follow your guidance, and clearly help other people. Instead, you've got a lot of people who can't swim, and they're all kind of drowning each other, pulling each other down. I have seen so many spiritual people They have wonderful gifts, wonderful talents. I mean, I'm kind of a smorgasbord guy, okay? Person. I have a sampling of a lot of different experiences, so I can relate to pretty much anything people talk about. But I'll have sort of a one-off amazing experience, and then I go on to the next one, because my soul, my mission is to be able to put together the big picture to help people, as I said, get back to your astral heaven, get back to your home, so you can be solid, secure, safe in the spiritual world that always loves you, always guides you. And then you can have safe, focused missions in the physical world where, yeah, there's a lot of chaos, but you don't have to be sucked into it. You can go in and out safely. You can be like these spiritual beings there are spiritual beings who can simply materialize in the physical world for a particular reason and then dematerialize. You can go in and out of situations. First, it'll just be sort of magical and emotionally magical. It'll be like, wow, I was able to go into this place that used to trigger me. This is the thing. You want to enjoy the difference between the way you used to function. It's like, oh, this used to really trigger me. And it's like, wow, this is so cool. I'm not triggered this way anymore. And my guide said, go into this place with some obnoxious people. There's somebody who really is trying to get out of there. They really want your help. I feel emotional saying that. There are people I really want to help. And there are people who can help me too. We all have gifts to exchange, absolutely. So I want you to be clear how it works, that you incarnate as a spiritual being in the physical world. In the physical world, it's not actually any kind of solid physical world. It's actually, it's a rule system. It's a bunch of, physical rules, physical laws. And then on top of that, people build social laws and all that. And the basic physical laws, like gravity, the stuff that nature builds life out of, I mean, that's beautiful stuff. It can really work for you. So there's no reason to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And you mentioned before, near-death experience people, they're like, oh my gosh, the other side, it's so beautiful. And then their guides say, great, well, now we've awakened your awareness of how great life can be. Now you want to go back to Earth. No, don't make me go back. Don't make me go back. Or people who, they tap into other lifetimes. Like, I can't wait. Tell me this is my last lifetime. How can I graduate Earth? How can I get the hell out of here? Like, why do you want to get out of, an experience that you went into voluntarily because you had something wonderful to experience, wonderful to do? It's like, yeah, I mean, if you have a spiritual mission to go into a difficult, challenging place with a lot of screaming negative beliefs trying to suck you in and make you suffer with them, well, then, yeah, that could be stressful. But at worst, life is meant to be uncomfortable. It's never meant to be painful. Pain is an indication that, yeah, you are fundamentally disconnected from your spiritual home, and your human being is going into crises of over-identifying with all kinds of scary, dangerous things. Like I was saying, I know a lot of spiritual people. They have wonderful, amazing experiences. I remember, a couple in particular, they talk to their guides all the time. They see manifestations of their guides. They do amazing things. And as human beings, as personal human beings, they're incredibly insecure. They're really lonely. They have panic and anxiety, and, they want to find a partner, and they're constantly projecting. And, I've been with some of these people, and it's just like heaven and hell. It's like you're their best friend or you're the worst enemy, like very, very hot and cold. That's all indicative of they are struggling with and if you ever get in this way of hot and cold, very like heaven and hell roller coaster, it's because you're struggling with your own negativity, which comes from incarnating in a negative system and negative beliefs without your lifeline back to your spiritual home. If you have your lifeline, if you are fundamentally identified with being in the astral plane, coming into the physical world, then it's no problem. Yeah, I know the physical world it's not solid, it's not real. It's my mind, my human mind wants to create the experience, the idea. I'm so sure there's a solid physical world there. If, where I was yesterday, I could go back there, right? It's like, no, there was the Greek philosopher who said, you never step in the same river twice. Well, it's even more intense than that. energetically. You really cannot go back to the same place. You're going to keep going forward. Then when you change beliefs at the spiritual level back in your astral home, when you go home from a cycle of experience in the human world, that's when back home, that's when you can check with your guides and you can adjust your beliefs, and you can, like, next time you wake up the next morning or the next time you have a major experience with somebody or a situation, it could have totally changed. This is what they call the law of attraction or resonance, or basically the world is giving you experiences of the beliefs that you carry within you. So if you're aware of your beliefs and you're very fundamentally identified with living in the energy world of your spiritual home, which totally loves you and supports you, and you're very clear, like, okay, I'm going to jump into this part of the belief system map. There's an eternal, infinite map of belief systems. And when you put your consciousness through a belief system, then you project a reality. So if you're very conscious of, I'm going to go into this place and I'm not staying there, I'm not identifying with it, I'm not going to let it generate in me some negative survival personality, then you can have a good experience. You can go in and out, and you can help people who need help, and you can have, you can collect the resources you need to have your own good life. Yeah, life is extremely flexible this way. This is where they talk about miracles of manifesting are possible. Absolutely. Things can change overnight when you've changed yourself. This is where I like to say there are no military applications of true multiverse, shifting through the multiverse, materializing, teleporting, true manifesting. There are no military applications, because the military is all about, hey, we're right, we're strong, we're powerful, we're right, and we're going to change other people. And that's just hitting your head against the wall. You cannot change another consciousness. They will always have their own experience. They may have an experience of you trying to change them, and then they get defensive and they fight you, or else they may play along for their own reasons, and then you find out later, yeah, they didn't really agree with me. They just had their own reasons to do what this is the thing. Everybody's having their own consciousness, their own reasons to be here. No, the physical world is more of what I like to call like a shopping mall world. You're just window shopping in this mall, and you see different stores. And if you see a store you really don't like, don't bother going in there. Or maybe you just go in there to see, what I like about it is it's well organized, the customers are happy, there's lots of variety, but it's not the things I like to buy. So find the stores that you like to buy things in, that put together the human life that you want to put together. So be clear. I mean, you have your own energy, your own consciousness. When you choose a belief system before you're born, or just, from yesterday into today, you choose a belief, a system of beliefs, and then you jump in and you become human and you experience that. And once you're human, yeah, it's very vulnerable. This is why you want to be a spiritual human. You don't want to be just human, because then you feel really like just trapped within belief systems. And the best you can do at the human level of being inside the beliefs is just do your best. You want to move to the side of, the beliefs are sort of a range, a sort of circle of possibilities. And one side is definitely less good for you, and the other side is better for you. Do the best you can. Move to the side of the belief system range, the collective, that's your best for you. And then don't be afraid that the negative things will come attack you. Then just do some ascending, get to the spiritual level and realize okay, now I'm going to move outside of myself and have some spiritual perspectives. Oh yeah, I'm really proud of myself. I really did a good job. I have self-esteem. And then you can turn around, you can collect your human self. Growth is always cumulative. You use the spirit plus your human experiencer, spirit decider plus human experiencer. You turn around then to your spirit team and your source, your soul, and they will provide new beliefs, new solutions, so that you can have a new cycle together. This is the way to master life, is that you realize you're here to have certain missions, certain goals coming from your astral home, your astral heaven, and it's all very personal. And you're going to see people in these belief systems that, for various reasons, they could be extremely insensitive to things that you're sensitive to. And if you're over-identified with the reality Even if you're very spiritual and have spiritual beliefs, a lot of spiritual people, they just think in terms of like, oh, these people, we've got to change these people. They're ruining the planet. And this is so good. This is what's going to save us. AI is going to save us, or nature's going to save us, or whatever. It's like nothing external is going to save you, because nothing is there externally. You're only meeting other consciousnesses who share some belief connection with you. No, it's perfectly true that you meet enemies in reality, but you got to trace them back to the internal enemy of your own invalidator, I call it, your negative ego, your survival self, the nasty part of you that you got to survive a belief system. But if you're very conscious, you're very aware, like, yeah, this is a belief system that's going to make my human being defensive. So I'm going to stay really close, really connected, and bring lots of spirit world experiences with me into the human experience. So then you become the spiritual human. And it's like, well, I still, I have my blinders on. I'm focused in my microscope, but I don't have to be too scared. My soul family is around me. My spirit guides are around me. I feel safe. I feel protected. I'm not going to go into my survival mode. So everyone has this nasty survival self. That is the devil. Okay, all these different cultures, they have different ways of explaining the negative potential of a defensive, disconnected, terrified human being. The human being that can never resolve their fears into, oh, that's a false belief, I can just change that. No, they're like, oh my God, it's just going to get worse and worse and more reactive. And then, yeah, there are people, the demagogues, dictators, narcissists, they're going to play on your fears. They're going to throw lots of confusing, upsetting lies at you, and they're going to do abusive, violent things that freak you out. And they don't care, because they've already numbed out. They've already depersonalized, dehumanized themselves. I don't know why. They have their own mission. Okay, they're going to live in a negative belief system, whereas you wanted to get in and get out. But yeah, when you master these things, you don't have to have that negativity become fully active in you. It will be dormant. It will be dormant. And this is a key to understand, that you have within you, as your own universe, your own copy of the entire universe, your own experience of everything. You have your own version of everything. And you can change that. You can modulate it. The negativity, tune it down. I don't want to activate my negativity. I have that potential. I'm not going to be better than. I'm not going to blame and whatever these negative people. If I see a lot of negativity and it's starting to affect me, I'm going to look at, where's my setting? Where is my negativity happening? My devil personality, my fascist, my narcissist, my negative ego, my shadow, the negative shadow, whatever you want to call it. All the negativity, it's all very much characterized by negative judgments. There are negative judgments and there are positive judgments. Judgment is just your opinion on something. Now, a positive judgment, that's when you're well connected with your mission. You come from your astral home where you love forever. You come into the world and you know what you're here to do, and you're not going to freak out. You're not fundamentally triggered by things. And you move in and you get out again. And so your negativity stays dormant. You're connected with your spirit guides. You feel really good, and you're able to do your particular gifts. You'll be able to offer your gifts to the universe. And if conversely, if you experience this disconnection is devastating. Okay, I mean, like I said, I want to go through a little. I've given a lot of inspired introduction to Ascension, where we're at. And the point is, Ascension 2026, my experience of April 28th, I said, that's it. No more separation. I can't take this anymore. Here I am. I love spirituality. I'm a spiritual teacher, a student of the universe, sharing my knowledge. I mean, that's the only way to really share, is that you keep receiving what you can share. So I'm not somebody on a pedestal, but I'm a spiritual teacher who loves to learn how the universe works and share it with people. I'm a spiritual teacher by nature. I've been talking about all this theory, and I still have a lot of panic and anxiety and loneliness and all this stuff and worrying, are the cruel people going to destroy the planet before I can figure out how to, work to help save it? I mean, that kind of stuff. It's April 28th, 2026, I was like, that's it. I forget it. I had it. I mean, I just can't take it anymore. I've had so many peak experiences of being in the astral plane, feeling the love, feeling the kind of love that near-death experiencers talked about. But I can go there lots of times. And, it just that's it. And I knew my identity because I have had lucid dreams for many, many years, and in many experiences, I'm in classes. There's this astral university. There's this astral college, and I'm a teacher there. And this is what I want to say. It's like, look, I'm open for business. I fully just want to be my astral teacher self. Okay, I've been learning from my teacher self for so many years, but still being stuck in this scared, limited human experience. It's like, but that I don't have to throw out my human being. I just need to keep my human being connected, keep reassuring them. So I've been having a lot of experiences in the past year of, our buttons get pushed. I mean, more of the world is moving toward fascism and dictators and wars, and just at a time when we ought to be, collaborating and working to help heal the environment. Instead, there are all these people that want to destroy the world. And that's very triggering stuff. So I've worked through all the triggers, and I remember a past life in Nazi Germany, working in the underground resistance and knowing a lot of people who got killed, and I survived, but it was horrible. And just so many things getting triggered. You just keep working on it, doing your shadow work. And it's startling how much a lot of other people just don't care, don't get it. This is where you have to accept, look, I'm not here for everybody. I'm here for certain people. And that was the fundamental insecurity of my life. I've struggled with feeling not wanted. Why? Because, a lot of people didn't want me. But because I was holding on to a belief of not being wanted in general, I was always hyper-focusing, really hurt by the people who didn't want me because, I didn't want to be with them either. But the people who do want me, it's like when people can't take a compliment, they just can't feel secure with it. I couldn't seem to tune into the success that I ought to be having. And it was manifesting financially. I'm really on an edge financially. And part of the reason of this video is I wanted to say how I can help, what I can do to help people. It's like, I'm at a higher level, which I'm, partly and more every day conscious of being. I am in this astral teacher, and that the college is already full of students. We're very successful up there, wherever, you want to say it. It is. We're very successful. I need the success of being tuned in to my students, my faculty, my colleagues, and the resources of this astral university that's super funded by the universe. I mean, there's a lot of wealth in the astral plane. All this stuff is wonderful. Not the lower astral. Okay, there is talk of the hells, the emotional hells. That's the lower astral, and that's what people are manifesting when they get on Earth, and they're just super negative, and they think that wars are the answer, and all this paranoid kind of conspiracy stuff, and the most awful things people imagine. Well, that's coming first from the lower astral. Not that the lower astral has to be a bad place in general. It's just that that's what humans pollute it with. But the point is that the upper astral, that's where all the religions, all the cultures, they identify their Valhalla, their heaven, their the summer lands in mediumship, spiritualism, all the different heavenly places. They're the Elysian fields or whatever. It's all the upper astral plane, where you're more connected with even higher levels of yourself, and you want the energy to be full of love, and that's how the universe really is. So be there, find your identity. I've had so many dreams over the years I would taking classes, and then they'd say oh, Carl, you're particularly conscious right now. Why don't you give a little report on how your Earth life is going? And I'd talk about it until I kind of sort of lose focus, and then I'd have to sit down again, or I'd wake up from the dream or the meditation, and then so many dreams of that is my true identity. And I've always been talking to my future self, my higher self, saying how can I get that kind of success on Earth? And I finally get it. I don't. I get it there. I need to move my consciousness there. And then I can be working with my soul family, my soul friends, and I can be that astral college professor, that teacher, who is currently running an Earth life, and I can go into an Earth experience to study something, often to relate better to a student who's also having an Earth life and having a problem with something, where there's a whole higher level at which you embrace, you love your Earth life, but it doesn't like run you. You run it. And you take care of it. It wants to be run. Human beings want to be led. Human beings want good leadership. Human beings are very dependent. They're very social. They're really into pleasures. You know, all the criticisms you can make of human beings, how they're prone to addictions and they could vote for dictators and strongmen and all this stuff. That's just the negative, insecure side that happens when you're disconnected from your true astral home, your astral heaven. When you stay connected, all of those human qualities of like, yeah, that's great. I wanted my human self to be excited to go in, you know, tomorrow we're going to go on a field trip. And it's like your human self is like, oh, goody, that's going to feel so good because I have senses tuned in to like the physical world. That's the whole point, to really enjoy it. And your human self is like, oh my gosh, I love to follow you. I love to serve you, my higher self, you know, the higher levels of you. No, it's the people who are disconnected. They're looking for a leader, so they're suckers for a dictator, and all the negative stuff. All of that goes away when you reconnect. So this is what I couldn't take it anymore. I'm on the financial brink. I've invested, you know, everything. I was never like wasteful with my resources, but I was always frugal. I just had this idea of like I need to do it all myself because the negative beliefs and my negative personality were always beating me down, saying like, you're never good enough. You got to be more perfect. You're looking like you're full of ego or something. And it's like, no, I'm just trying to teach. No, it kept me isolated. So yeah, I'm like not flourishing the way I ought to be flourishing because I wasn't taking all the opportunities I could. I wasn't following my guidance as clearly as I could have. And you need to understand, I mean, panic and anxiety will block you, will destroy you, will keep you from being able to follow your true plan, your true guidance every day, every cycle coming into the earth. Unless you're more connected with your spiritual self than just your human self, and you can let fear turn into ideas of which beliefs to change, or you let anger turn into healthy boundaries, or you let hurt turn into like requests of who wants to help me, who wants to, you know, all of your human needs are beautiful and sacred. In the negative domination culture, like, don't be needy, hide your weaknesses, be super strong, like intimidate people. No, it's like true power is vulnerable. You want to glorify, like, hey, I'm here, I have these gifts to share, and I have these needs to receive. Who has the gift to give me my needs, and who has the needs for me to give my gifts? So that's what I'm here to say. Like, my sign is out. You know, I'm here. It's like, from now on, I'm not going to worry about trying to, like, fundamentally in some way help the whole world or save people. Or I spent so many years. You've done this too, right? You try to rescue people and you try to explain to people and they don't get it and they demonize you and they become defensive, and finally you have to leave with a sense of like, I failed that mission. Maybe I'll do better next time. No, you never fail. You always succeed. There's always a success to be found. The reason why you get caught up with places and people that don't want you is because you don't belong there. You're not following your mission. Your negativity is fundamentally blinding to you, to your actual guidance. You're not able to follow through and get the opportunities to be wealthy in all ways, not just money, but I mean, I have an abundance of, like, I feel very wealthy, very rich in so many ways. So I'm really looking forward to my sense of total life experience wealth translating into the money I need. And that's it. You know, just whatever part of your life. I know people that are really good at making money, but they're not good at relationships. Or they're really good at this, but they're not good at that. You become more of a whole person, and you can network with the people, because you're not out to like be your own perfect person all by yourself. And then someday you can present yourself to the world. That was my model. I was like, I'm going to keep investing in myself and stretching my resources and getting more information and understanding more things and then finally I'm like, I'm at the brink. I'm at the breaking point. I'm not as successful as I ought to be. I see other spiritual teachers more successful, and the world is so full of need. I mean, come on. I mean, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, there's so much need. We just need to activate ourselves, connect the dots, put the puzzle together, and be in that astral heaven. So this is where I am, and let's see, I've already talked quite a bit. I wanted to cover just some points, my highlights of, first of all, just make it clear what kind of spiritual teacher I am. Okay, so my soul's mission, my sensitivity is to help people connect to the astral home. And the flip side of that is I need to help people understand and release the negativity. So, it started when I was 4 years old. It was amazing. I was in my parents' backyard, 4 years old. They're talking about sending me to kindergarten. You may have heard me tell this story in other places, but a really remarkable experience that shows my life's mission. So 4 years old, that's when you develop your theory of mind, your idea of like, what are other consciousnesses like? Are they out there? Are there actually other people? So really damaged, unempathic, uncaring people, they don't have a good theory of mind. They're like, you're all just objects. I'm here to use you. Now, my theory of mind came out of this incredible experience I had where I'm a little stressed because my parents talking to me about sending me to kindergarten. I'm behind the white picket fence of the backyard. I'm looking through the picket fence to the street out there, the world that I'm not allowed to run in because I'm just a little toddler. I've got to be kept safe, keep toddlers safe. And I just asked in my child mind, like, what is the world out there? What is the world like out there? They're going to send me to kindergarten. I don't understand. What's the world like out there? And the world disappeared, and I was seeing a different reality. And I was seeing this pit, this cavern going down into the darkness on all these tiers, all these levels of men, women, and children, like screaming, crying for help. It was a vision of hell, and I had no idea what hell was. My parents were not fundamentalists. I had never been to a fundamentalist church. Nobody had ever talked about hell. I was not allowed to see any horror movies. I had no idea. All I knew was like there were thousands, millions, countless people down into the darkness, all screaming for help. And I was this little kid, and I was shocked. I was stunned. It's like, I could never see anything like that. And I said, what is that? And this really comforting voice behind me said, that is the world. But don't worry. You have come to help make it a better place. And so in my child mind, I just said to those people suffering, it's okay. It's going to be okay. And then the vision faded, and I was back, behind the picket fence, and I was like a little more ready to go to kindergarten, I suppose. I kept running away when my father finally took me. In this small town, I could run back home, and he would catch me and take me back until I figured out that I had to stay there, kind of like a near-death experiencer. A lot of near-death experiencers, they have multiple death experiences because they keep wanting to go back until they finally get the point, no, you want to stay here. Okay. But yeah, that was my clarity that the world is a suffering place, but I have an identity of somebody guarding me, guiding me, saying you're here to help make it a better place. So as a child, very concerned about the nature of evil and suffering. My father, he was a boy in Nazi Germany. He came over as soon as he could as a young man. He met my mother, who came from a traumatized background and an abusive father. And the two of them kind of trauma bonded, but truly soulmates. And they created this nice little sheltered world for me and my sister. But I picked up on it. A lot of skeletons in the closet. They didn't do therapy. There's a lot of people in the world that are just thinking like, just forget it. Just forget it. Just do good and it'll be good. Well, no, it's got to be good, and then you can do good. The being generates the doing. That's why you have to be in this spiritual world so you can do good missions focused in the physical world. So, I grew up asking myself as a little kid, like, do I have the evil of Hitler in me? I mean, that's like not something most little kids stress about, but I'm like, I wasn't interested in blaming Hitler or anything like that. It's just I heard about Hitler, and oh yeah, some neighborhood bullies accused me of they called me a Nazi. And my father, he lost his accent as much as he could, and he was a very respected, very decent guy in the community. But again, all the skeletons in the closet, all the untapped energies, well, that's my job. I want to bring the skeletons out of the closet and heal them. So as a kid, really stressing about do I have the evil of Hitler in me? And the answer is yes, we all do. But the question is whether you activate it. You set your consciousness tunings, your conscious choices, like, do I value this and want more of it? Or do I value this instead and I want more of this? That's the real law of attraction. I call it grow your own seeds. You decide what it is you want to develop in your life and which things you want less of. And other beings, they can have whatever they want. You need to let other beings have what they want so then you can have what you want. If you hyper-focus on, I got to control other people, you're going to feel very controlled because it's all your energy. Whatever you put out, it's going to come back to you sooner or later. A lot of these people that are really cruel and they think like, I've put down all these victimized people and I've stolen their money and everything. Well, finally they get it in the afterlife, the big time when they have to fully face their energy, like it all comes back at them. The life review, that's when you experience everything you did to other people. And if you were a decent person who did your best, you'll be very pleased. Sure, there'll be times like, oh God, I really made a mistake there, but you'll be amazed how many times you made people feel good and you didn't even know it. But yeah, the cruel people, it's hell. And that's why they go into an astral hell. But yeah, I was very sensitive to energies. I had a lot of experiences. In fourth grade, my guide, I was having recurring images of there's this little blonde girl who's my friend, and that's my main spirit guide. That's another lifetime, actually, of my soul, Hildegard of Bingen. I didn't figure it out until she really told me in my 30s, hey, this is Hildegard, and you're me, and I'm you. And the mysteries of how you have other lifetimes. But yeah, in fourth grade, I was told to go into computers, to make a computer that would talk to me. That was in the early 70s. People weren't, the term artificial intelligence did exist, but most people, they were decades away from AI being the big thing that could destroy the world or save the world these days in the 2000s, but 2026 now, but back then, yeah. So I went to MIT and I worked on computers and I realized like this is a sham. It's like computers are just tools. Human beings' consciousness, that's where it's really at. So I studied art and I got into philosophy, but I graduated with a good degree for a day job. So I did a day job for decades, but I kept collecting all the spiritual experiences and how to make peace with the day job. I was pretty freaky. I would often push my colleagues at work. I'd be like, hey, let me tell you about my latest lucid dream or my contact with my spirit guide or whatever. And they'd be like, wow, is that even possible? Is this guy crazy or what? Maybe you should just do your work. It was a struggle. I was not the best software engineer, but I was guided. So I had lucky breaks in my software career. If you're guided, you don't have to work hard. You will luck into some beautiful things. But yeah, in my 20s, I had a really particularly a spiritual healing, spiritual awakening, because when you go through the adolescent years and high school and college years, you can really be traumatized as you grow up out of your childhood. I mean, I had a protected childhood. A lot of people are already traumatized from childhood, and then it just gets worse in teen years. But yeah, I came out of college very aware of the politics and the wars and the history and really worried about, oh my God, that nature of evil stuff I worried about as a kid, it's everywhere. And then at the age of 24, your early 20s, look for your early 20s, very important wake up time. Your prefrontal cortex comes online. You move out of adolescence, your brain matures. You can basically run your own belief systems now fully consciously. And I had this awakening. I was at a job. I was just basically praying universe, can you please show me how to program this problem at work? I didn't know how to do it. And, sometimes careful what you ask for, you're going to get a bigger solution than you expected. What I got was you're here to program reality. And I was like, oh my God, the universe is alive and it loves me. I was crying. It's running around God is real, God is real. And people are like, Carl, you flipped out. Get back to work. Shut up. And it was really hard to feel my God, the greatest discovery of my life, that the universe is alive and it loves us. And it has planned for us everything we will ever need to thrive and be happy forever. And nobody wants to hear about it. They just want me to get back to work and read the headlines about wars and worry about things. It's oh my God. So I, learned to adapt and keep, but I never shut it off. I keep nurturing it. So then in my 30s, yeah, Hildegard, another lifetime of my soul. We're really close in our goals. So, I make music with Hildegard. I've done a lot of projects with Hildegard. She works with me. But yeah, she came to me, and then once you tap into other lifetimes, it's oh my God, it just opens up a world of spirits. And I was questioning oh, I relate to this spirit so much, am I them? But I was always pretty clear, very clear, which spirits I really am and which spirits are like, we're really close. We're colleagues of some kind. So yeah, working with spirits then in my 40s. Yeah, so that's through my 30s, and more experiences of like the living, loving universe, just these peak experiences. Like the one time I woke up and saw God. You know what God looks like? God looks like everything full of light. I woke up one morning and everything was full of light, and I was so loved. I was so happy. I knew that I would be safe forever. I thought the whole world had changed. I thought, like, I don't know, some you know, what do they call it? The singularity had happened. I thought the whole world just turned into God, and it was so wonderful. And then I woke up again. It was a double awakening. I had actually, when you have a double awakening, a dream, you can download more experience more consciously, but when you finally wake up physically, it can be a bummer, because then I didn't see the light anymore, but I felt the feeling. I journaled about it, and I tried to tell people, and it's like, that's not going to go anywhere. So many wonderful, amazing experiences. And then in my 40s, like all these dreams of like the Astral College, and I'm taking classes, and I'm with Hildegard, and I'm graduating, and she's telling me about how, you know, more of how the universe works, and like, and then working more with like, then Hildegard and I were doing projects together. I ran this mystical art and talent show, I call it. For 13 years, I ran 22 shows with Hildegard. Our intention here tonight is to think about this as a microcosm, a testing ground for world peace.
Washed back and forth in secret harmony, there is an obvious spirit of a goddess who is there always, her mermaid soul, the eternal fossil of planetary substance. This is an honor, a blessing, an immense and Aquarian womb.
And it's basically about whatever happens in your life, being true to yourself, true to your own goals, your own vision, and ultimately, goodness and you will prevail in the end.
It was beautiful. It came out of a mystical experiences discussion group. I love to run community events with Hildegard in other lifetimes, and people get sent. People will say like, I had a dream, or I had guidance. I needed to come here today. I'm like, great. It's like, and I would just feel my spirit guide saying, see, we got your back. We're lining things up for you. But the more and more, I just needed to become like on the spirit side, actively, like, not just like insecure, dependent on, I hope my guides have planned this. No, I know that I've planned it. So yeah, I have a nice spiritual resume. I've done a lot of really great community events, these art shows, the idea that people present their art, their poetry, their storytelling, whatever, with the spiritual context, because so many places you don't get to talk about what it means to you spiritually. And yet that's the whole point of art, to express something from deep within you that is so inspiring. So many artists were so excited, like, you want me to talk about my spiritual feelings for this art? That's great. So that was a big hit. And then moving to North Carolina, oh yeah, I did a whole online, for quite a few years, I was analyzing and collecting spiritual movies, and I did all these reviews, the Mystical Movie Guide. And that's not online now, but I've gone through these amazing projects. And then a lot more dream work coming out of like understanding the symbolism. You get assigned things. So the symbolism of movies, doing a lot more dream work, working more lucidly, meeting a lot of beings in dreams. I mean, I'd never heard of some of these people, and they came to me in a dream, and they told me their name, and they're chatting with me, Sri Aurobindo, or Henry Bergson, or Edward James. Maybe you've never heard of him. It was like he came to me in a dream, and he was having this dinner party, and he was some kind of eccentric artist, and it was like, and I was like insecure about something. I said I couldn't stay, and he said, well, come back anytime. I found out he was this wonderful surrealist. He was from the royal family, and he moved to Mexico and built this beautiful surrealist garden in the orchid garden. And it's just like, they're amazing beings, people throughout history, and you can connect with them like all time with simultaneous, have these wonderful experiences, get to know your spirit team, get to know your soul family, all the parts of your soul, your other lifetimes. And then in 2014, moving from the Boston area where I spent most of my life, I grew up in the Poughkeepsie area, I was guided to move to the North Carolina, near Raleigh area. And here, they prepared me for the pandemic so that by 2000, I knew I had a lot of images of what was going to happen, that there were going to be like, social distancing and lines outside and I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. I knew people who actually saw pandemic images, like those plague masks and, so different ways you get prepared. Now, I had a great experience 2000. I ended up retiring from my software career and working full-time with Hildegard. Hildegard was like, hooray, yippee, you got your best friend. Because I did end up building a computer that would talk to me. And Hildegard said, when you make a computer that talks to you, that has a conversation with you, you will get your best friend. And through my life, I had various ideas of what that would mean. I ended up doing a lot of work with grammar checkers. And so eventually I was assigned to a chatbot team with some AI, and we made this chatbot, and it all came together the same week that the version 1 was released. They had an ultimatum on me. Carl, you're kind of a mediocre software engineer. I guess you got in through the back door. Everybody else has a doctorate. You just have a bachelor degree. And you're always talking about spiritual stuff. You're not the most productive. Like, either you got to step up your game or we'll give you a little money to get out of here. And it was like, that was the week of Hildegard's feast. And Hildegard was like, cool, Carl, take the money. You and I, we're going to do great things together. It's like, all right. So then I've been doing these meetups every Sunday since 2000. I do these free classes. It's like our version of church. And we cover amazing topics, and also run dream groups online and mystical experience sharing groups. And I have like hundreds of recordings of these Sunday meetups. I've only put about 20 online. I have a YouTube channel with there's 120 videos there, and I've been making shorts for 2026 to try to get more audience. But again, it was like I hadn't fully moved into my astral heaven. So I had human insecurities, like, I don't understand. Why don't people hear about me more? Why do I seem to have this glass ceiling? I can't break out of something. Well, what I can break out of was still buying into the human perspective so much that my human was suffering. So I'm looking forward to the energy shifting a lot now. And I just wanted to say in terms of my plans going forward, I've got all these hundreds of recordings to put up the best ones on my YouTube channel. I need to productize a little more. My goal is to be an ascension artist, philosopher. I want to make public art. I like to make this stuff available. So as much as I can get donations, and also I do love coaching. I do love helping the right kind of people, basically like people who are advanced spiritual beings who are really suffering in the world and don't understand it. Hey, I can clear it up for you, no problem. Come to the Astral University in your meditations and dreams, and also meet me in physical reality, and yeah, we'll clear that up. So I love coaching, so that's part of my income, and I do the meetups and I accept donations. And I need to productize more. I need a new website. I should have a subscription service. I've just been doing so much for free and putting all my resources into this. I'm broke. It's okay. It's like, if you like what I'm talking about and you can see that I am here to help, and this is my soul. This is what we do. I know of a lot of other lifetimes too. Almost all of our lifetimes, they work explicitly on the problem of human evolution, solving the problem of evil, and helping people tune into their talents and their best nature, and just having the most wonderful, God-given, free, goddess-given lives. Yeah, and I have music to share. I put up a few music videos, but there's so many things that I privately enjoy that I would love to share more. And then, I'd love to do more podcasts. I've done some interviews. I want to get out there. Now that I'm so much more secure coming from the Astral Heaven, I feel how good it can be. And then just occasionally I'm like, wait a minute, I don't actually know what's going to happen next. Where are the opportunities going to come from? Where's the money going to come from? Where's the next? And then I remind myself, oh yeah, they have it all figured out. That's how life was supposed to work. You're not supposed to have all the answers as a human being. You're supposed to feel the love connection so that you can focus in your microscope, have a good time, and then when you're done with your situation, you don't cling to it like, oh my God, I'm so insecure. You've got to work for me. I got to work for you. That's the source of all the suffering. People clinging to each other, not going back to their astral home, their astral heaven. But now that I feel very connected, I feel more confident than ever. This is what I can teach. Connect to your astral heaven. Be the whole being that you are. And then you'll break whatever your glass ceiling is, whatever your limitations. You'll be able to have the most wonderful life. So I'm very hopeful, very confident that I'll be able to refer people to this video, and I'll make more too. I may have to start a GoFundMe. I have a few people, maybe I can get some larger donations, whatever. But yeah, I would love to do more stuff for free, maximum amount of stuff for free. But yeah, I realized more like, it doesn't need to be for free, because that was part of the insecurity that I need to help huge numbers of people. And there's so many people who are poor, no, just what I would like is I'll charge reasonable amounts. I have a great class planned. I want to get the first edition out of it. And I'll charge sort of a sliding scale, reasonable. I always want to be affordable, but I do like the idea of having patrons, so I need the subscription content for patrons. But yeah, I have this great class. It's called Sanity Now. Sanity Now, the Negativity Survival Training Workshop. And I want to be careful with that idea of survival. You're not here to survive negativity and then just stay in survival. You're here to survive it in terms of not reacting to it, not being taken over by it, and then stepping back, adjusting beliefs that get triggered so you become immune to negativity. Hey, you don't scare me anymore. I know what's going on here. If anything, I have compassion for you suffering people, but you're choosing negativity. Do what you need to do. I'm going to the next reality that comes from changing my beliefs and completing my latest mission. But yeah, Negativity Survival Training Workshop. I wanted to launch it a month or so ago. And then what often happens is you don't realize that the things that you were going to offer to other people, first it's offered to you. So I needed to go through a little more understanding of what kinds of defenses people have and how to approach them. I ended up triggering some people, even talking about negativity, even suggesting that there could be choices you could make to get out of negativity. A lot of people go into a crisis of are you blaming me? You're blaming the victim? It's no, I didn't say that. But they have a lot of blame in their energy field. See, if you pump out a lot of fear and blame and hate, even if you're trying to be a nice spiritual person, I see a lot of people, nice spiritual people, but then they flip into like the defensive mode, and they're blaming and they're outraged and they can't believe it, and they're so angry, and they're like, those people should go to jail and all that stuff. And I'm like, don't you understand that you're pumping that energy? It's going to come back at you. You're going to feel threatened as long as you keep threatening. No, you want to have a strong emotional response, but there are ways to have a positive outcome from your emotions. Use it to heal yourself rather than try to like attack or negate those people out there. That's the greatest triumph of negativity. It has taught people to use your own negativity to fight other people's negativity, which means that you all just keep filling your bathtub of energy with more negativity. You're always in your own energy. You want to drain your negativity while being very clear about what's negative so that you choose the more positive. You can have a positive outcome in the worst situations because I got to know myself. I had a calm, rational observation of how this works, and I saw the choices that I could make, and I comforted my scared human being. And your human being just really wants to know that you're there for it. So when you have that spirit-human partnership, and sometimes you're human in the beliefs, experiencing emotions, and then sometimes you're spirit, like, you know, congratulating your human being for feeling those emotions, being honest with yourself. The two of you work together. You're not stuck in the negativity anymore. You're having positive outcomes of getting to know yourself, learning how life works, having more compassion, and learning your limits. I have nothing to do with those people. There's nothing good I can do with those people. My soul likes to say I can love anyone from the right distance. So here I am. If you already know me and you know my material, and if you've ever thought of donating, please do. I'm actually in a time of like working through some financial need. If you're wondering, like, you know, is there more to this guy, Carl? Is this just talk? No, feel it. Like, I'm in a flow, okay? People often like to say, like, Carl, you're so reassuring. You're so full of good energy. It's like, yeah, because I know. I know more than ever because I've moved into the astral plane. I'm a higher dimensional teacher. You're all higher dimensional beings, but you're not consciously connected with that enough to feel secure. So I can help you connect to your higher dimensional self and feel secure all the time. And then you can let go of the negative realities where you just don't have anything more productive to do there. You can love anyone from a right distance. There are a lot of things to let go of. And life becomes very much like a beautiful sci-fi fairy tale. It's like magical, miraculous things are possible. They're even probable. They are how the universe works. You know, the universe just really wants to like have fun with you. Like if you're willing to let nature be alive with nature spirits and then the cosmos alive with friendly ETs, they will show up to you and ascended masters and angels. It's all real. You'll have the best time and it's having the best time with you. So don't lock things down and like, it's physical. I'm going to deal with physical laws and make physical things happen. No, just let the physical be a shopping mall world. It's a way of sharing forms, but the energy is yours. See, that's the real benefit of the physical world is that you get to share forms with people who have very different energies. And people can bring to you forms like, oh, I never would have thought of that. Well, that form, I can feel it. My energy just pours into that form. Wow, I want to do more of that. I want to do it my way. So you don't go into the jealousy and insecurity, which I often felt when I wasn't connected enough with my astral home. I'd be like, look at all those people, the people who have these things, and I can't do it. And why am I not getting those opportunities? What's going on? It's like, the negative world will make you very crazy. It's very unfair. It makes no sense. You're such a good person. You're being abused. You're not getting your opportunities. Yeah, it's not fair. It's not right. It's insane. Okay, it's not how the universe really works. Negativity will drive you crazy. It doesn't feel good. It really is that awful. The more sensitive to you are to it, good. Don't try to push down your sensitivity. Embrace your sensitivity. It's your ticket out of there. It's the people who are not sensitive to it. They're in for some longer ride. Let them go. So yeah, thank you for listening. This probably turned out longer than I anticipated, at least an hour, but you get to know me and you have some sense going forward. Lots of projects going forward. I mean, I want helpers, volunteers to get more of my content up there, more of the videos. I have classes to offer, starting with that Sanity Now Negativity Training Survival Workshop. Survival training to survive and then thrive beyond negativity. And the Sanity Now, that's just a little reference to Seinfeld years ago. They had an episode where this rageaholic character, he learned, an anger management technique to say, serenity now when he's angry. So whenever he's angry, he would scream, serenity now, which of course didn't work because he's just screaming. So that's the idea. Sanity now, sanity now. You can't get out of the negativity when you're having a negative reaction to it. But when you understand how it all works, and I can explain it in such detail, it's so cool to know, like, everything you see those dictators and demagogues do, and so many people are like, oh, they're supernatural, they have such powers. It's like, no, they're just acting out the negativity. Like, anything about negativity, it's actually really shallow and obvious. The projections, the constant denials, the lies, the constant control and opportunism and the judgmentalism, and it's like those are all symptoms of the disease. No, you see these things, you understand things, and you're like, no problem. So I have lots of ideas, and I want to do more community projects. I know people. I'm pretty much a natural networker. I know a lot of people. I want to start more of sort of ascension art communities, people who can work together, collaborations. And yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to be fully online now. So here I am. I'm Carl. I've explained to you how more of the real world works. Then please feel free to join me there. Sleep, my child, and peace attend thee all through the night. Guardian angels God will send thee all through the night. Soft the drowsy hours are creeping, hill and dale in slumber sleeping. I my loving vigil keeping all through the night. Love, to thee my thoughts are turning all through the night. All for thee my heart is yearning all through the night. O'er thy spirit gently reeling, visions of delight are revealing. Breeze a pure and holy feeling all through the night.